The Brooklyn Nets and Los Angeles Lakers have both had a difficult season and have been taking steps to cut setbacks for the next year. In the middle of this, Rob Pelinka and Sean Marks had a secret meeting. Want to know more about the Nets and Lakers' secret meeting? Keep watching for all the details. Let's begin. First up, Nets and Lakers general managers seen together. The Lakers spent a lot of connections in the last season to secure a mega deal with the Washington Wizards to acquire Russell Westbrook to make a new blockbuster team that would get them a title. They failed miserably and had a disappointing season that ended with their head coach Frank Vogel being fired and a run to rearrange the structure of the team. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets haven't been better off as they started the season as a favorite contender for the title, but ended up being defeated by the Boston Celtics their first game in the playoffs. They had a few players' injuries, and overall, they're not looking good. Suffice to say, both teams need a good shakeup, which is exactly why so many people started talking when they heard that the general managers for both teams were seen meeting. There's been so many talks over trades between major teams, and both have some luggage they'd rather shed. In particular, there's talks as LeBron James reaches the last years of his contract, the Westbrook issue, and on the Nets' side, they seem to want to get rid of Kyrie Irving. With rumors flying from Ben Simmons to Anthony Davis, everyone's talking about the meeting of the two GMs. Are the Brooklyn Nets and Los Angeles Lakers planning a trade? If we're being honest, then the two might have just been meeting for a casual coffee. It is the offseason after all, and the two know each other because they both hold one of the most important positions in the NBA. They're both general managers, and for fan-favorite teams with big-name players, no less. With Rob Pelinka heading the Los Angeles Lakers roster and Sean Marks handling the Brooklyn Nets, they both aren't strangers to big deals and stars who have a lot to say. But if we assume that they were in fact talking about a trade between the two teams, and let's be honest, seeing them at the NBA combine after their teams had disappointing seasons, no one's going to assume they met to catch up. Then what can we expect? It was Adam Zagoria who first tweeted that he saw the two together. The sports writers' news sent all of basketball Twitter into mayhem. While there are several options, a lot of LeBron fans seem to think that the Lakers are aiming to create a new big three around him after the James, Westbrook, Davis trio failed spectacularly. Others think that LeBron will be switching to the Nets. Whatever's happening for now, we can only speculate. Next, Rob Pelinka and Sean Marks discussing teams? The first option for what might have been discussed in the Pelinka-Marks meeting is the new head coach for the Lakers. The last season saw Frank Vogel get fired from the Lakers for failing to properly use Russell Westbrook after they worked so hard to recruit him. With the position empty, Pelinka might have been discussing the suitability of Kenny Atkinson. While he's an assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors right now, he was the head coach for the Nets for 4 years. But other than the coach position, the rest of the discussion can only be on the several possible trade deals between the two teams. Both have some extremely elite talent, but it's just not working together. So maybe a switch-up will help. For one, there's a proposed Kyrie Irving for Anthony Davis exchange. There's also Ben Simmons for Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving for Russell Westbrook, and other deals. Since the Lakers is a LeBron James center team right now and Westbrook isn't really wanted elsewhere at the moment, Anthony Davis might be bowing out of the team. Many fans think that Pelinka might be discussing a Kyrie Irving acquisition because his relationship with the Nets isn't the greatest right now. On the other hand, James was seen on Twitter discussing his dream duo with Irving and how skilled of a player he was. Will LeBron James move to the Nets in a trade deal? Right now, the biggest question on everyone's mind is whether Pelinka and Marks were actually discussing a LeBron James trade. Everyone knows his contract is coming to an end, and he's known for signing deals more beneficial for him. Even if Lakers owner Gene Busey wants to keep him happy, many seem to think they might be seeing him in the Nets black and white uniform next season. Apart from James praising Irving on Twitter, Kyrie himself went on the I Am Athlete podcast to talk about him and James's relationship in the Cleveland Cavaliers and how he wished he had recognized the opportunities playing with him would have gotten him. On top of that, James has previously answered that his favorite city was New York and favorite borough was Brooklyn. Christian Winfield had suggested that a king and prince exchange might have been discussed, with the prince being Ben Simmons. It's a nickname he got because of the multiple daft nicks he got. People called him LeBron Light, and he might be a better choice for the Lakers anyway, because he's young and and has a few years on his contract, but then the Nets will probably think of that too. Now in other news, what is Kyrie Irving's future with the Brooklyn Nets? It would be an understatement to say that the Brooklyn Nets season was dissatisfying. The Nets were, entering the season, considered a title favorite, but were instead defeated in the first round of the playoffs by the Boston Celtics. They became the only team this postseason that didn't win a single game. Several factors played into this outcome, with James Harden's trade to the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons didn't enter a single game, and the biggest factor was that Kyrie Irving only played in 29 games this season. Kyrie Irving couldn't play in many games this season to a certain degree because of New York City's vaccine mandate and his reluctance to be vaccinated. There was also the fact that the Nets were unwilling to have him play in road games until January, and Kevin Durant's MCL injury forced him to be absent from games for over a month and a half. When general manager Sean Marks was asked whether Brooklyn was committed to Irving, he said that they were looking for guys who want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, play team basketball, and be available. That goes not only for Kyrie, but everybody here. This wasn't exactly a seal of approval for Irving, and implies that the Nets might not be giving Irving a contract extension. How will the Los Angeles Lakers deal with Russell Westbrook fiasco? The Los Angeles Lakers did not qualify for the play-in tournament this year, despite having a team led by renowned players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Russell Westbrook was acquired by the Lakers this offseason. However, the decision turned out to be a disappointment, since he failed to carry the team and most of the other players were injured, causing the Lakers to miss the postseason completely. Westbrook averaged only 18.5 points per game and averaged just 7.1 assists per game, which is the lowest total for him since his second NBA season. After this season, Westbrook described his relationship with the now fired coach Frank Vogel, saying that he didn't understand what issue he had with him, but they never really connected. Westbrook felt that he had to prove himself and his capabilities to the coach, and that although it's unfortunate it's out of his hands, it's uncertain what the Lakers have in store for Russell, who might become a free agent if he doesn't pick up his $47.1 million option. The Lakers acquired Westbrook from the Washington Wizards in exchange for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl, and Kyle Kuzma. If Westbrook remains in the Los Angeles Lakers, a good coach and adequate supporting cast could help him fit in better with James and Davis. Will the Bucks assistant coach be hired by the Lakers? Darvin Ham, following Mike Budenholzer as the assistant coach for Milwaukee Bucks, has been recently hired to coach Los Angeles Lakers, according to multiple reports last Friday. Ham is a 48-year-old American who won an NBA title as a forward with Detroit and has worked with the Lakers before as an assistant coach from 2011 to 13. He then spent seasons as an assistant for the Atlanta Hawks. Now the Lakers have again hired Ham, while The Athletic stated that the team were signing a 4-year deal with Ham, this being his first NBA head coaching post. The Lakers' previous coach, Frank Vogel, had led them to the 2020 NBA title, going 127-98 in 3 seasons, but were fired by the Lakers a month prior after going 33-49 and missing the playoffs. Ham immediately got enthusiastic response, including 4-time NBA Most Valuable Player James tweeting, "So damn excited. Congrats and welcome Coach D. Ham." The Lakers are in need of a roster revamp to be able to compete in a difficult Western Conference, even though they won a crown in 2020, only 2 years ago, which was the 4th career title for James. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the Nets and Lakers GMs meeting? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.